ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us see where we are. सदेव सौम्य इदमग्रे आसीत् एकमेवाद्वितीयं तद्ध एके आहुः असदेव इदमग्रे आसीत् एकमेवाद्वितीयं तस्माद् असतः सज्जायत. So we have seen the first paragraph of the bhashya for this part, and we are in 6.2.1, and like I said, we plan to be here for a little while because it is quite involved. We have to look at and appreciate some of these nuances which are not new at all. Even though they are called nuances, they are very ancient in the form of Vaisheshika and Nayayika philosophies, which look very, very strange to us. But in some way, it is kind of comforting to look into these philosophies because we know that even back then there were some crazy people with crazy thoughts and crazy theologies and crazy ideas. It's not just now. So that's the only dubious sense of comfort because of this. Okay. So now the first part, agre jagatah pragutpattehe, we have seen. So the bhashya is from Kim na idanim. Okay, so from there you can repeat Kim na idanim
Inna idanim
idam sat
idam sat
yena agre asit
yena agre asit
iti vishishyate
iti vishishyate
na
na
katham tarhi visheshanam
katham tarhi visheshanam
idanimapi
idanimapi
idam
idam
sadeva
tadeva
किन्तु
kintu
नामरूपविशेषणवत्
nama rupa visheshanavat
इदं शब्द
idam shabda
बुद्धिविषयं च
buddhi vishayam cha
इति
iti
इदं च भवति
idam cha bhavati
प्रागुत्पत्तेः तु
pragutpattehe tu
अग्रे
agre
केवल
kevala
सच्छब्द
sachabda
बुद्धिमात्र
buddhimatra
गम्यमेव इति
gamyameva iti
सदेव
sadeva
इदमग्रे आसीत्
idam agre asit
इति
इति
अवधार्यते
अवधार्यते
न हि
न हि
प्रागुत्पत्तेः
प्रागुत्पत्तेः
नामरूपवत्
नामरूपवत्
वा
वा
इदमिति
इदमिति
ग्रहीतुं शक्यं वस्तु
ग्रहीतुं शक्यं वस्तु
सुषुप्तकाले इव
सुषुप्तकाले इव
यथा
यथा
सुषुप्तात्
सुषुप्तात्
उत्थितः
उत्थितः
सत्मात्रं सत्त्वमात्रं
सत्त्वमात्रम्
अवगच्छति
अवगच्छति
सुषुप्ते
सुषुप्ते
सन्मात्रमेव केवलं
सन्मात्रमेव केवलं
वस्तु इति
वस्तु इति
तथा प्रागुत्पत्तेः
तथा प्रागुत्पत्तेः
इति अभिप्रायः
इति अभिप्रायः
यथा इदमुच्यते लोके
यथा इदमुच्यते लोके
पूर्वाह्णे
पूर्वाह्णे
घटादि
घटादि
सिसृक्षुणा
सिसृक्षुणा
कुलालेन
कुलालेन
मृत्पिण्डं
मृत्पिण्डम्
प्रसारितम् उपलभ्य
प्रसारितम् उपलभ्य
ग्रामान्तरं गत्वा
ग्रामान्तरं गत्वा
प्रत्यागतः
प्रत्यागतः
अपराह्णे
अपराह्णे
तत्रैव
तत्रैव
घट
घट
शरावादी
शरावादी
अनेकभेद
अनेकभेद
भिन्नकार्यं
भिन्नकार्यम्
उपलभ्य
उपलभ्य
मृदेव इदं
हृदेव इदम्
घटशरावादि केवलं
घटशरावादि केवलम्
पूर्वाह्णे आसीदिति
पूर्वाह्णे आसेदिति
तथा
तथा
इहापि उच्यते
इहापि उच्यते
सदेवमग्रे आसीत्
सदेवमग्रे आसीत्
इति.
इति.
That was a mouthful, but nice to read and hear it. So now let us look at what it is trying to say. All right, let us see where we are. Yeah, idam jagat. See, now there is an objection, kind of a question, more than an objection. It's a kind of a question. Sadeva kim na idanim idam sat, kim na, what indeed idam sat, right now it is not sat. Asit, I told you, it's a past tense. Sat was there. Like saying he was a very rich man. Now he's on the streets. This is exactly Sat was in the beginning. Sat was Asit. And now what happened? Ayyayo, too bad, passed away and no longer available. And so this is the feeling you get, because when Sat was talked about, we had certain adjective, nirvishesham, without attributes. So meaning it is free of time, it is vijnanam, it is in the sense of the self-evident consciousness. All these things, we had all these adjectives. So it could be confusing. It looks like Sat is everything, But then we get stuck in language. And what is the language? Was. Sat, this Jagat was Sat. Was Sat. So now, Kim? Na idanim? It is not now. Now what happened to it? This is the question that will definitely arise. So, Kim na idanim Sat? Isn't it Sat now? This Jagat, isn't it Sat now? Yena agre asid iti vishishyate. Because you are saying that it was there before. Vishishyate means you are qualifying the Sat with a verb that actually is acting like an adjective. Because if I say Sat was, then that means that Sat is is time bound. So we are talking of a time bound Sat. So here the verb is actually having an adjectival, giving it an adjectival meaning. And so kintu, so he says idanim api, what happened to it now? And so Adi Shankara gives a one word sentence. Na, finished. Nothing more to say, because the Purva Pakshi has to be silenced. And sometimes we learn from here only how to talk. Just short pithy words and one monosyllables, one sentence words are enough. You don't have to wax eloquent, go into defensive explanations. You don't have to sort of say, oh, I forgot. I don't know why I said was, but I don't know why the Upanishad is saying was, but, if, and you don't have to, the Upanishad doesn't need any defense. If you are unable to comprehend it, go, what should I say, go to the Titiksha gym and do some workout. Shamadama, Uparati, Shraddha, Samadhanam, of course Titiksha, etc. Titiksha is the name of the gym, okay? Do some workout and get the six-pack. That is the six-pack, what is that? Shamadama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. These, go back and requalify yourself. The Purva Pakshi is told. Requalify yourself, because the Shruti is telling something. It is hitam, it is satyam, it is hitam, it is infallible, it is for your own good. Shruti is not getting anything out of teaching you, and so if you don't comprehend, then the onus is on you. Vedanta, I tell you, is so unfair. So if you don't get the knowledge, it's your problem. Let's say if you get the knowledge, then the Guru gets all the credit. What kind of a thing is this? Oh, it's all the Guru's grace. It's all because of the teacher. And supposing you don't get it, then it's all on you. Okay, this is Vedanta. Whether we like it or not, this is how the setup is. It's not just a setup; it is actually true also. But if we take it with a sense of humor, it you can it helps one to be responsible and accountable for one's own preparedness. So therefore, the answer na monosyllable is not meant to be rude. It's just stating a fact that it is not that Sat is in the past tense. Sat is very much here now, and then that's not what it is. So then after the na, there is a period, and then we then the Purva Pakshi asks the question again. Katham tarhi visheshanam. So if you're saying Sat is still there now, then why is it qualified by the word was? Then Adi Shankara responds in the Bhashya, idanim api, even now, idam, this, and whenever we use the word this, what does it refer to? Sudden Vedanta quiz, not fair. What does it refer to? What does the word this refer to? Jagat. Very good. Fantastic. Yes. Yeah, I live for moments like these. Very, very nice. So, it refers to the Jagat. So, idanim api, even now, idam, this Jagat, is Sat alone. It is still Sat. Kintu, however, nama rupa visheshanavat. But it has a slight addition. And what is the addition? An as though addition. An as though attribute. Visheshanavat means full of, imbued with, qualified by the nama and rupa. The as though name and form. This is more, what is it called? Vyakritam sat, differentiated. Again, before differentiated, we have to use the word as though. So this Jagat was Sat, it is Sat, but now Kintu Nama Rupa Visheshanavat Idam Shabda Buddhi Vishayam. So Idam Shabda Buddhi Vishayam Cha Iti Idam Cha Bhavati. Meaning, so this Sat is indeed this alone. It was Sat, it is Sat. And then what? And then the Jagat was there before its creation. Prag Utpattehe. Before the Jagat came into being, this Jagat was Sat. And then what happened now? Kimna Idanim? Yes, it is now also Sat. It is non-separate from Sat. And then the Jagat is qualified now by name and form, that as though qualification was not there before. And so that is why the past tense is there. There is a reason for the past tense. The past tense is to show the movement, the as though movement and the as though change of this Jagat, Idam Jagat, from the standpoint of Vyakrita, now differentiated as it were. And then what was it before? Undifferentiated. This is what. So we cannot, but this is a very important question. What is the important question? The important question is, if Sat was qualified to be this to be with name and form, what was it before? It was Sat alone. Even now it is Sat. Otherwise, what is the Purva Pakshi asking? What happened to Sat? It was there, irundadu, like that, like it was there before. And what happened to Sat now? Sat Pocha, we have to ask, did it die? Did it pass away? No. Sat is very much here, and Sat is in the form of this Jagat alone. This Jagat is nothing but Sat, but that Sat from then looks different than this Sat now. This is the only difference. That Sat then looks different, because this Sat now, this Jagat, is qualified in terms of time and space, in terms of words and meaning. And then before, all that differentiation was not there. Just like even the pot. That is why the pot clay example was given. Before the creation of the pot was there. How? In the form of clay. Before the creation of the Jagat, Idam Jagat was there. How? Unmanifest Namarupa. Now, manifest Namarupa. That's the only difference. Manifest and unmanifest, because we don't use the word creation. Even if we say creation, it is as though. Everything is as though, as though, as though, as though, as though. So this is also as though. And then, so there is no, there is nothing, it hasn't undergone any change. Like even a crystal, which was not having any background before, and now it is sitting in front of a yellow background. And then what? What has happened to it? Has the crystal changed? No, not really. Maybe now the crystal, because it is wearing yellow, is called Brahmachari crystal. But then it is still crystal. And then maybe then it is where, then it is behind an orange cloth and it becomes what? Crystal Ananda. But still crystal alone. Because when you remove the various different cloths, and then what do you see? You see that it is nirvishesha, attribute free. Even now, the Sat manifest as the Jagat is attribute free, name free, form free. And this whole manifestation, demanifestation, free it is. And then how do you know? Because you are that Sat, and that is something that is going to be repeatedly told. And so Nama Rupa Visheshanavat means the qualification in the form of Nama Rupa. This is what is there. Because we cannot say that Sat was, meaning now it is gone. This is something which we don't even have to go so far as the Buddhist, our Buddhist friends, because we have friends within the Hindu tradition itself, like Vaisheshikas and Nayayikas, from whom we are going to hear soon, and as soon as this weekend. And what do they say? They love to dabble in the concept of absence, abhava. So if they hear a word like idam agre sat idam agre idam sat asit, this was sat before this jagat, then immediately they come to the conclusion, now it ain't there. Now what is there is a big zero, abhava. And then so the jagat so the jagat was not there. So that means the absence of the jagat, listen to this carefully, the absence of the jagat was there. And so they love to wax eloquent about the absence, because that's where they peddle best in, the absence of the jagat. And then therefore what? Therefore we have to point out that the Sat was the same, because we don't deal with absence. Because even if I say the absence of the jagat is, I am constrained to use the word is, which is a word connected to presence. It has nothing to do with absence. Absence of the jagat is. And so we say there is no such thing called abhava, unless you are talking of the missing pot in the palm of my hand. Where is the pot? I told you it was missing. So don't look for it. That which is not there. So meaning we also have a pramana, a means of knowledge called anupalabdhi, the cognition of absence. And for that, to use this pramana, there should be it should meet two conditions. I should know what is it that's missing, kasya abhava, and then kutra abhava. What is it that is missing, and then where is it missing? Both those things have to be understood. Because if I don't understand what is it that's missing, then if I say the truth of this jagat is that it is missing, or it is nothing, it is zero, it didn't exist, it doesn't exist, something like that, if I say that the truth of this jagat is zero, and out of this zero came this jagat. If I say, this is not tenable with Vedanta, with the Hindu Shastra, even though the Hindu tradition is credited with the use of the word, with the discovery of zero. Zero is actually we don't have a word for zero. The shunya and all came later. But the word for zero is pujya. Pujya means the most worshipful one, the one that is worthy of worship. Pujana yogya, pujya. Pujana yogya. That suffix yat comes, pujya. So then pujya means what? Why is it, why is the zero worshipful? Zero is not worshipful. The concept of zero is far from worshipful. The concept of abhava, when it is not there, what can you worship? No. What is worshipful is that which the utterance or the discovery of the zero reveals. So if I say there is nothing in the palm of my hand, or 2 minus 2 is 0, Pujya, because what it reveals is the conscious sentient observer, i.e., the person who said 2 minus 2 is 0. That is the one to be worshipped. That is Ishvara. That is the whole. That is consciousness. That is the bread and butter of this whole Jagat. That is what has as though become many without undergoing any change, any loss, and still being free of time, free of space, self-evident, all knowledge, limitless. So whenever you say 0, it reveals you, the conscious being, in whose presence this 0 comes to light. Both bhava and abhava come to light in whose presence, that is you, that is Sat. So we believe in abhavasya abhava. The abhava, we say it is the absence of absence. In fact, whole of Vedanta is absence of absence, because we only deal with presence. There is no absence, there is only presence, 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 presence. Somebody sent me one joke, very nice, and then there was in a cartoon, and so there is some kind of a spiritual fair is going on, a very spiritual affair, okay. And so in this spiritual fair there are some booths, and we can see 3 booths. This side there is one booth, psychic past life reading, and there's a big line of people trying to get inside this tent. And then on this side there is one more tent, future fortune telling, okay. And then there's another big line of people snaking into this tent, and in the middle there's one open tent with some meditation cushions, and then nobody is there except one woman there saying, present time, anybody, anyone. So this is Vedanta is all about presence. If you want to talk about Vedanta, what does it deal with? If you want to impress your friends, you can say, we deal with the absence of absence. We deal, we can mystify people and then, and become very famous. We deal with the absence of absence. There's no such thing as absence. It cannot be there. Because svatasiddhatvat, because you are self-evident. You cannot hide. You cannot hide at all. Like this joke Pujya Swamiji used to tell. There was one, what should I say, man Friday, who in this story, okay? Some kind of a gopher. He belonged to, in the household of a rich man. He was employed, and his name was, Muppan. How can you forget his name? His name was Muppan. And this Muppan was just, oh, Muppan, come here, do this, do that. And then the rich man in whose house he was employed, his daughter got married. And so they entertained the party of the groom and everything. This story belongs to the time when there was no electricity. And so Muppan was sent with a kerosene lamp on his head. And he was told, they might be having a difficult time, the party of the groom and his family and all the guests. So please go and place, wherever there is a dark place, go place the kerosene lamps there. And Muppan said, aye, sir. And he went. And then, what did he do? He carried one kerosene lamp on the head. And then he trotted off to do his job. Then he looked to the left, and the kerosene lamp cast a glow. Then he looked to the right, and the kerosene lamp cast a glow. Then he looked straight, the kerosene lamp cast a glow. Then he looked behind himself, the kerosene lamp cast a glow. And then he came back. And and the employer said, the boss said, what is it, you're back already? All the lamps are right here, and the one that's on your head also you're bringing back. And he said, sir, I looked high and low, left and right. I went everywhere, and I could not find a dark place to keep the lamp. And so you see, that is how the Atma is. That is how the Atma is. It is so self-evident. There is no place, there is nothing that is not lit up, including one's own ignorance. That I am ignorant also happily comes to light. After that one becomes sad, but it happily comes to light. And so this is something which is very interesting. So there is you cannot say, you can never ever say that the truth of the world is zero, nothing, not possible to say that at all. And so idam jagat, what was that? The it just has the past tense is just to show that there is some addition, some value added thing. There is no total absence. Nama Rupa Visheshanavat Jagat. Like now, Nama Rupa Visheshanavat means it has Nama Rupa, it is qualified by words and meanings. Nama and words, Rupa, meanings of those words. That is what it is qualified by. Like what we have: space, fire, water, five elements, etc. Cow, dog, pig, they are all name and form. And even before the so-called manifestation, it was still Namarupa Visheshanavat Jagat. But this Namarupa was not available for what? For objectification. Just like within a seed, the tree very much exists, but it is not. If you say that where is the orange seed, and you look in the orange pip, you even peel off the pip and you cut it in half, and then you look at it. Where is the orange tree? You don't see little miniature oranges, and you don't see any of those things. You don't see anything. You just see a seed, unmanifest. Yet, if you were to plant that pip before you did all those, before you mutilated it, if you were to plant the pip, then the orange tree will come. And when we were children, we were told not to swallow it, because then the orange tree would come out of the ears, come out of all the, all the nose and ears and everything. This is how the elders would scare us. And then, so this is all unmanifest, from manifest to unmanifest, unmanifest to manifest. This is what the Jagat is. The whole universe, it's not, strictly speaking, it cannot be called a creation. So therefore, this addition is as though. That is all that is. Now he says, it is available for idam shabda grahanam. Now it is objectifiable. Idam shabda grahanam means it is graspable by the word idam. Before, the idam was not there. Idam shabda, and then, so where does he say that? Nama Rupa idam iti grahitum shakyam vastu. So this vastu, the word vastu means thing. The only thing in the Sanskrit language that is worth being called a thing is what? Is sat. So idam now qualifies the Jagat. Why? Because it is a vastu which before was not objectifiable. Now it is objectifiable. By what? By idam iti grahitum shakyam. Now it is possible to say, this cow, this dog, this horse, this. Idam shabda vachyam. And he gives let me make sure I have, nahi prag utpattehe nama rupavat vai. So, but before the creation, before the Jagat came into being, you cannot say that it was objectifiable by the word idam. That time what? That time sattva matram. Sat shabda sanmatram means it was just itself without any qualification, and that itself was you, and it was recognized differently, because when you need to recognize yourself, there is no objectification involved. Why not? Because the I cannot be objectified. Oh, that's so sad. I want to objectify the I. Well, thankfully, it need not be objectified. Because, see, one thing to say it cannot be objectified. More important it is to say it need not be objectified because it shines like the light on Muppan's head. It is difficult to find, it is impossible to find anything that doesn't come to light. Itself it comes to light, and then it brings everything to light. So that is basically what this Sat is. And then that Sat is that Sat. That's why we say that Sat, because we are talking of a different time space scenario. Why? Because we are talking of some kind of a change that can be marked by time. So it's not that the Sat deteriorated into names and forms. Sat is Sat and Jagat is Sat. But then the 14 billion years of various life forms from amoeba to the human being, usually a useless human being, useless means what, not of much use, not not able to contribute anything. So such a person, not able to a kind of a burden on the mother earth. So this is the trajectory. And so that whole trajectory is involved and included when we say that Nama Rupa was not there, now Nama Rupa is there. Sat plus Nama Rupa is equal to Sat. Sat minus Nama Rupa, still Sat. And so this Jagat was Sat, now also it is Sat, and earlier undifferentiated, now differentiated. Okay. You're talking all this, but how do I understand and assimilate this? You keep saying unmanifest to manifest and all these things. It sounds great. How do I assimilate it? Adi Shankara has an idea. Sushuptakale iva. Sushuptakale means in the sleep state. In the sleep state, what happens? He explains. Yatha sushuptat utthitah, like the person who is still rubbing the eyes, just got up from sleep. And then avagacchati here means knows. Knows what? Sattva matrameva avagacchati. Means knows what? Knows sleep. How does the person who just woke up from sleep know sleep? The person who just awakened from sleep knows the experience of sleep as nothing in particular. That is, we are not talking of dream, that will come later. But we are talking of the sleep example. So, how does the person know sleep? Well, there was nothing in particular. Meaning, there was no idam shabda grahanam in sleep. There is no nama and rupa in sleep. There is no this body experienced in sleep. There is no this mind in sleep. All of them are in a causal state. Nothing of that, no time in sleep. Oh, I have been sleeping for 7 hours. Not there in sleep. Later on, in hindsight, it is recalled. No space in sleep. Oh, this bed is not nice, too narrow, I need a bigger bed. Not, it's not there in sleep. Once you are asleep, you could be, suspended in a hammock or something, or you could be on the floor, you could be anywhere, and then it really doesn't matter. And that's what leads one to question investing in what is this Posturepedic, and that, that mattress, and the mattress which is, where they advertise it by putting one hand print and taking it out, and the print of your hand is still there on the mattress. What is that called? Some kind of foam, some memory foam. Yeah, memory foam. The mattress remembers, but you can forget. That is, you get a sanction to forget. So like that, you start questioning when you study Vedanta. You start questioning For what is this mattress? For the sleeping person or for the waking person? Actually, it is for the waking person. Because, oh, until you sleep, there is all this, oh, it hurts here, it hurts there. In sleep, maybe after you wake up, it will still continue to hurt. But in sleep, there is, sukham aham aswapsam na kinchid avedisham. I slept so well. And what do you know about sleep? Nothing in particular. No sleep. Nothing in particular is known in sleep. So that's why he uses a very intimate example and a universal example of a very intimate experience and a regular experience that people go through every single day. And what is that? Sleep. Yatha sushuptad utthitah. So the person has just got up, rubbing the eyes. What do they know? Nothing in particular. Sushupte, in sleep, sanmatrameva kevalam vastu iti. So in Sushupti, Sat alone was, meaning there was a sense of existence. Who was the one existing? Why, that was me. I was asleep, but you cannot say I am asleep, can you? No. That's why Sat was now differentiated. What a beautiful example. You cannot say I am asleep. It's still that same consciousness, but you say I was asleep, and that's the same reason Sat, in the beginning this Jagat was Sat. That is why the past tense is used, because now you are no longer asleep on the individual level, neither is the Jagat on the Samashti level, on the collective level. In Pralaya, it is not in a state of resolution, it is very much an expanding universe. The physicists will use this, metaphor, expanding universe, meaning that there are things happening. All kinds of things are happening at different places, and new things are being discovered. Everything, new things are coming into being, and so therefore what? So now this Jagat, was Sat, meaning what? It was undifferentiated, like the person slowly coming out of sleep doesn't know anything about the sleep state other than the fact that one was asleep. सन्मात्रम एव केवलम वस्तु इति तथा प्रागुत्पत्तेः इति अभिप्रायः. This is the intention. A beautiful example. And then he says yatha idam uchyate, and another example he gives, yatha idam uchyate loke. So this is something that is seen. Uchyate means drishyate. So this is what is seen in the world. What is seen, and so you see what is seen. Purvanhe, in the forenoon. Ghatadi, pot, etc. Sisrikshuna. Sisrikshu, srashtum ichu. Sisrikshu. This is a desiderative construction, like mumukshu, jignasu, and bhubhukshu. What is bhubhukshu? Bhoktumichu. The one desirous of eating is called bhubhukshu, and the desire to eat is called bhubhuksha. Not to be confused with bubhutsa, bodhumicha, the desire to know, bodhumicha. And then what else, And then it's a certain, there are many words like this. Mumukshu, jignasu, and then srashtum ichu. The by the one, so sisrikshu, the one desiring to create. Sisrikshu. And all these desiderative agent nouns, mumukshu, jignasu, sisrikshu, they decline like guru, being ukaranta. So sisrikshuna means by the person desirous of creating. Sisrikshuna. And who is this Sisrikshu? Kulalah, kulalena. These two words are in apposition. One is a ending, so it goes kulalena, like ramena. The other one is u ending, so it declines like guru. Sisrikshuna kulalena. By the kulala. Who is kulala? Potter. The potter who is desirous to create. So this is idam drishyate loke. You see this very much in the world, a very worldly example. So from a personal example of the sleep state, etc., he goes to a worldly example. And what is the worldly example? Yatha drishyate purvanhe. In the forenoon, the person went where? Went across the potter's yard to go to the next village for work. The person was outsourced to the next village for work, and then in the evening, in the afternoon, evening, came back and crossed the potter's yard again. So what? On the way there, what did he see? The person who was going to work in the next village or going to sell his wares in the next village, what did the person see? He or she saw something. What did they see? Prasaritam mritpindam. Prasaritam mritpindam upalabhya. So, for upalabhya means gaining sight-wise. So, their eyes fell on a prasarita. Prasarita means nicely mixed and kneaded. Kneaded. Yeah. So, kneaded. What? Mritpindam, clay. So, they saw a big lump of well-kneaded clay. And it's a sight to see in India how they wear these big boots, and then they trample, and they trample, and then seeing even now you can see in rural India this trampling. They wear these knee-high boots, and sometimes even with bare feet they just put the water, and the whole family comes to trample, and that's how they mix the clay in order to make the pot, etc. And seeing this scene, we would think it's just an everyday scene, but a saint like Saint Kabir, who composed a lot of couplets, all about Vedanta alone, who composed couplets, and then so there he just composed on the spot an extempore couplet. Mati kahe kumhar se. The clay said to the potter, when it was being trampled, Tu kya rondhe moe? What is it that you are mixing me and trample me? Ik din aisa aega. A day will certainly come when I am going to trample you at the end of your life, when you are interred. I am going to have the last laugh and the last word. Very, very nice, and the sense of agency, and this misplaced sense of agency and everything is just very well, is put to rest. Very beautiful couplet. So here is a common sign. The person did not see the potter. What did the person see? The person saw a lump of clay that was nicely kneaded, ready to go. This was when Purvanhe, forenoon. And then what did the person do? Did a lot of things. Maybe went to work, maybe stopped and got some things to eat, maybe shopped for the house. So then he or she came back. And then what happened? Gramantaram gatva, having gone to the next village, Pratyagataha, came back. When? Aparanhe, in the afternoon. Tatraiva, and in the same place, what did the person see? Ghata sharavadi aneka bheda bhinnam karyam upalabhya. So having seen, what did they see? That person who came back from the next village, having gone to do their errands or for some work, and came back and saw in place of the nicely kneaded clay, what did they see? They saw ghata, pot, sharava, jug, and then lid, cup, a small Krishna figurine, all nicely ready to go into the kiln, all kind of cute things, all made of clay. And then the point is, the person was not confused. That is the point here. There was no confusion when the person went It was all a big lump of kneaded clay. Then the person returns back to the village, and then in place of the kneaded clay, Tatraiva, in the same place, he sees a whole set of earthenware. And then what? The person comes to a conclusion. Karyam upalabhya, having seen the effects of the clay. Karya means effect. Then what does the person, what kind of thing does the person conclude? Oh, I must be lost, because when I went there was only clay. Now there are all these things, I should turn around, I think I'm lost. No. The person says to himself or herself, Mrideva idam घटशरावादि केवलं पूर्वाह्णे आसीत्. This ghata, sharava, etc., the vase, the pot, the cup, the lid, is all mud only, is all that clay only, which I saw in the forenoon. Clay alone was. Just like saying, see, he is trying to justify the word was. So clay alone was. This ghata, this sharava, this cup, this lid, this figurine, and anything, little toy car made of clay, this toy was all clay alone. So it's not clay now, of course it is clay now, but clay with a shape, with a name, with a word, with a form, with a meaning. That's what it is, you know. Ghata sharavadi kevalam purvanhe asit. Tatha, and in the same way, ihapi uchyate. Here also it is said, what is said? Sadeva somya idam agre asit iti. Idam agre asit. Before this, Sat alone was. Now what happened to the Purva Pakshi? Went to sleep. Got bored, went to sleep, not interested in Vedanta, just questioning and putting some kind of hook there and finding fault here. Went to sleep. Can't blame the Purva Pakshi, because even people interested in Vedanta go to sleep. And it's not their fault. Why? Because this Vedanta makes one relaxed. And when relaxation comes, immediately sleep comes, because we don't know. Unless one has been doing yoga and all these things, one doesn't know that there are other ways of relaxing than promptly going to sleep. So, therefore, in the beginning, people go to sleep. And so here the Purva Pakshi is asleep. Why not gone away? Because the fellow is going to come back. Don't worry. In the very next mantra, the person is going to come back, just taking a little refresher nap. That's all. Yeah. Or he's been boxed out of the ring, and his people are doing that water spray, fuss fuss, and putting his teeth back together, and then fanning him, doing all these things, reviving him a little bit. Okay, and then he will come back again. Don't worry. Why do you say he better than she? Sometimes it's nice to use the word he for Purva Pakshi. Okay, then we can have Siddhantini. All right, yeah, so we can do that. So for a change, once in a while. Bhashya एकमेव इति
एकमेव इति
स्वकार्यपतितम्
स्वकार्यपतितम्
अन्यत् नास्ति
अन्यत् नास्ति
इति
इति
एकमेव
एकमेव
इति उच्यते
इति उच्यते
अद्वितीयम्
अद्वितीयम्
इति
इति
मृद्व्यतिरेकेण
मृद्व्यतिरेकेण
यथा अन्यत्
यथा अन्यत्
घटादि आकारेण
घटादि आकारेण
परिणमयित्र
परिणमयित्र
कुलालादिनिमित्त
कुलालादिनिमित्त
कारणं दृष्टं
कारणं दृष्टं
तथा
तथा
सद्व्यतिरेकेण
तद्व्यतिरेकेण
सतः
ततः
सहकारिकारणं
सहकारी कारणं
द्वितीयं
द्वितीयं
वस्त्वन्तरं प्राप्तं
वस्त्वन्तरं प्राप्तं
प्रतिषिध्यते
प्रतिषिध्यते
अद्वितीयमिति
अद्वितीयमिति
न अस्य
न अस्य
द्वितीयं वस्तु अन्तरं
द्वितीयं वस्तु अन्तरं
विद्यते इति
विद्यते इति
अद्वितीयम्.
अद्वितीयम्.
Yeah, so now he goes further. So this much is clear why the word was is used. So this whole time it has taken us 1 hour over one word, was. Okay, welcome to Bhashya study. This is, we take our time. All right, so this is what it is. Nothing is glossed over, not even was, is, and, but. Everything is really highlighted, because this is where one can, if you gloss over the was, then one has got a lot of vagueness in the head. Sat was, okay, what happened to now? What happened to it now? All these things. Now all those things have been rebuked, and individually and collectively, by talking about the example that we know and love, namely the clay and the products from the clay karya, and then what? And then the individual experience of sleep, where everything is resolved in sleep, and you don't know anything in particular, you don't interact with anyone in particular, including different parts of the body mind complex, nothing. And so therefore, this whole, this whole hour was an ode to the word was. This is Bhashya, okay. So now he's going further, because Sadeva Somya, go back to that sentence, Sadeva Somya idam agre asit. We have finished that much. Now he is going to take up this part. Ekameva advitiyam. One and one alone and without a second. We saw the meaning of that. Okay. And so then what? Yeah. Then let's see, where are we? Little bit before we proceed further, a little discussion is necessary to understand what's going to come, because the creation, quote unquote, creation of the Jagat is slightly different from pot, vase, etc. Clay stuff. Why? Because when you buy the pot and take it home, the whole potter and the family of the potter and the children of the potter and the dog and the cat belonging to the children of the potter and their toys do not come home with you. There is a distance. Especially in capitalism now, you don't even know who made the stuff. And in fact, nobody made the stuff, because somebody did, even if you buy a shirt, somebody did the collar and somewhere in Guatemala, and then somebody else did the one sleeve. Another sleeve was some other assembly line somewhere else, and the front and the back and everything, and then it was all put together somewhere else, and then the buttons were placed somewhere else, and then the whole thing was just packed and sold with a line, assembled in the United States. Assembled, but that means the pocket was made somewhere else and this was made somewhere else. It was just all put together in a place. So in the previous era, we had what is it called, the putting out system, pre-industrialization, where people did everything at home in families. They would knit a whole sweater, and they would have pride, because there was this feeling that, okay, I am the karta, parinamayitri, the parinama karta, the one that has made this wool, which was on the back of this sheep, this bleating sheep, which was then shaved, and that wool was washed and dyed and then dried, and then it was combed, and then yarn was taken out, that yarn was spun, and then finally then it was knitted into a sweater, and then people had a say over the means and modes of production. But then the assembly line thing took it all away, and now you don't know who made anything. You don't know at all, and nobody really makes one thing. Whether you talk of a car, or whether you talk of a shirt, or even something small, it is all part by part by part. And that's why it's so boring to go to work, because you don't have a sense of accomplishment. Whole day you're making one pocket of the shirt. Whole day, same pocket, no brainer. It's already, somebody else has cut it. That is somebody else's prarabdha to cut the pocket. And you are just sewing the pocket, and already the places are marked, and it has to be done just like this. And the whole day you're doing that. There is no sense of pride. There is no sense of ownership. There is no sense of agency. It's all very, alienated. There is that's what capitalism brings. It brings a sense of alienation from the self and from the product and the production process. You're just a cog in the wheel. If you say, I'm going to leave, there's no problem. There'll be 100 other people who know how to make pockets better than you. So no problem. We'll get some other person who is actually another machine, and they will keep on sewing pockets till they retire. That is basically the idea. So here, in any kind of a local creation, there is what is that? Bhinnata means there is a separation from the person who made it, and then the material which was used to make that product. If we continue with the shirt example, what do we find? So we have a shirt, and this shirt is right here, let us say, and this shirt has a name and a form. And then we have somebody, or many somebodies, a whole lot of people who have made the shirt. And then what? They have made this shirt, and then they are not been given any kind of a credit for being the makers of the shirt. And the shirt itself is the material which has been acted upon by the maker of the shirt. So the maker and the material called shirt is different. And the person who is sewing the pockets and the sleeves doesn't know how to visualize the entire shirt. That person who is in the form of the knowledge is very different from the person who is actually bringing the shirt to life. So therefore what? So the cause is split into two. One is called Upadana Karanam. These are technical terms. Upadana Karanam, which means material cause. I'm not very fond of the translation, but it will do because I can't think of any other way to present this. So the material cause. So we have something called the material cause. Why? Because it's the raw material with which the product is made. So the material cause for chapati is flour of some kind. The material cause for shirt is fabric of some kind. Material cause for pot is clay. So this is what is called material. Simply put, it is the material. And then we have also, what is that? The other one is the one who transforms the material into the product, who acts upon the material with the help of some knowledge involved. There is presupposition of sentience, consciousness. There is because the material that is acted upon is inert. In other words, the shirt doesn't say, I'd like to have this kind of a collar, a Nehru collar, and I'm going to look like this. It doesn't say that. Somebody who's designing the shirt says that. And so, therefore, the person who is making the shirt or crafting the shirt or designing the shirt is a conscious being acting upon the inert fabric to make it into a shirt. So you see, there is a difference. The conscious being is acting upon that which is inert, which is the material. And this conscious being is also knowledgeable, maybe not all knowledge, but has the knowledge of how to convert this fabric into shirt. So with this know-how, then the shirt becomes fabric. Now, the material is different from the maker in all the examples that we can think of in the Jagat. However, when we talk about Sat, then the material is not different from the one that made it. So, the material cause is called Upadana Karanam, and the sentient being with all knowledge, or at least with the knowledge of how to make whatever is at hand. So in this example, shirt, cut the shirt, etc., cut the fabric and make the shirt. So how to do this? This, there is a difference. So Upadana Karanam, and then the other one is called Nimitta Karanam. And it is also translated strangely as the sufficient, efficient cause. Not a very efficient translation, but it's called efficient cause and material cause. I see the word efficient cause more as as the knowledge that is needed. A cause that it is in Sanskrit we say Jnana Shakti. Jnana Shakti. That knowledge that is needed to convert the material into the product that is desired. So this is basically now we have to see this difference in the local constructions of anything, and in local creations the material cause will be very different from the efficient or the intelligent cause. The two will not be the same. Like I said, the material being inert, it's not going to act upon itself, and the sentient being, in terms of the human being in the Jagat, needs something, or even not a human being, a bird building a nest, let us say, needs something, twigs and little pieces of feather, paper, whatever it uses, it needs something to craft. And so this difference is there where in the world and also in our own orientation, this difference, this gap is very much there. So if the Jagat was Sat, and then how did it quote unquote become the Jagat? Where is the raw material for the Jagat? And many people say the 5 elements are the raw materials. 5 elements are not the raw materials. Something else. What made the 5 elements? Somewhere else we have to go. And then what does Adi Shankara say here? Adi Shankara says something very interesting. Adi Shankara says that this is what we see in the world. That, Ghatadi Akarena Parinamayitra Kulaladi Nimitta Karanam Drishtam. We see that Mrit Vyatirekena means as opposed to the clay. As opposed to the clay, in distinction to the examples of clay and pot or shirt, fabric, etc., we see that there are lot of sahakari karanani. Sahakari means auxiliary causes. Like in the case of the pot, you need a potter. But is the potter enough? No. You need a wheel. And then you need a stick to keep moving the wheel. Then of course you need clay. And then you need the fire. You have to put it in the kiln. So the fire, the wheel, the stick, or if it's an electrified potter's wheel, the motor, all these things, are part of the various auxiliary causes to bring the pot to fruition. And it's not as easy as it looks. You see the person who is skilled and suddenly they do this and oh, so nice, very fluted, nice thing, and then they say, oh, I changed my mind, and then they, they dismantle it all with little water and clay in their hands, and then they just do it like this. And if if we go to make something like that, it will have disastrous results. Okay, yeah, it will look like some kind of a ghoulish pot or something like that, because there is skill involved. There is skill involved. How do you know? If you ask, I tried, and then I said, okay, this is first it looked so easy, then I tried, and I said, okay, this is not my cup of tea here. It needs a lot of practice, and you need to anticipate what all can happen. Otherwise, one side will be fat, the other side will be so thin, it's already eroded before it goes into the kiln. Then you will have a holy pot, when it comes out. And so this way, the unlike all these affiliate causes, sahakari karana means auxiliary or affiliate causes, which are different from the potter, which is different from the knowledge of the potter, the skill of the potter, and which is different from the clay which the potter operates upon. And then, you know, satah, for the sadvastunah, for the sadvastu, dvitiyam means another vastu antaram, another vastu, another being, another cause, whether it is the material cause, maker cause, intelligent cause, efficient cause, auxiliary cause, affiliate cause. Pratishidyate is negated by the word ekam. We are now looking at the word ekam, one. It is negated by the word one because that one alone is the maker, that one alone is the material, that one alone is everything. So that's why even though we say it is just like pot and clay, it is not. When we look deeper, it is not like pot and clay. This is important to see, that when we look from the standpoint of the creator and the material, this difference does not exist at all. So then what happens if this difference doesn't exist? How did Sat, quote unquote, become the Jagat? For that, to see that, we have tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.